Alright, we're going to begin a drawing here. I've switched cameras so the audio is a little different, but it will hopefully be a clearer image for you. On this drawing, we're going to be putting to practice the hatching and cross-hatching that we just practiced in the last exercise. But there are some other things that are going to come into play here. Obviously, drawing the human face, we'll try to get those proportions correct. Everything that we've done up to this point with contours and proportion and even perspective, sighting in some angles and things, will really help out on doing this drawing. So we're going to begin with just kind of tracing the outside of the head, this general oval shape. You can use a number 2 pencil on this. I'm going to be holding my pencil kind of back at the eraser so that I can have a lot of freedom to move the pencil. So this is not like the concentrated contour line drawings that we've done before. It's a very loose and sketchy type of drawing. So I'm going to begin. I'm looking over here at this side of the man's face and just again get the general outline of the head shape. Stay on camera here. So it's kind of a oval shape. Everyone's going to be a little different. Some might be a little skinnier than others, but feel free to stop the video if you need to and catch up. First thing we're going to do is mark out where the eyes are. Believe it or not, the eyes are in the middle of the head. We always see the facial features as very important, and so we tend to ignore this big section of forehead here, but let's do a simple proportional measurement. I'm not going to move my hands at all. From the eye to the chin is the same as the eye to the top of the head. Or I can even take a visual measurement like this. If I set the eraser, like I taught you guys, take a visual measurement here from there to the chin and just slide it up. It's there to the top of the head, showing you that the eyes are in the middle of the head. You can even do that same measurement on yourself. Hold that eraser next to the corner of your eye, slide your finger and thumb down to where it hits your chin, and then slide it up to where your thumb's by the corner of your eye, and the top of the eraser will be at the top of your head. On this drawing, you might notice if it's upright like this, he's kind of tipped at an angle. I'm kind of setting him up horizontal. It's a little better. But measuring where the middle of the head is, and I'm going to go ahead and put a line there, put a light line, dividing it in half. Just take a measurement, make sure the line is right in the middle. You can draw these lines on there, these guiding lines, and you can come back and erase them later. Now let's begin by drawing this eye right here, and it's not quite in the middle. The middle would be right there where his nose is, so just a little bit to the left of that. You really wanted to get technical. The width of the eye is the distance between two eyes. So you notice I didn't change the depth of my fingers there. It's like here, here, here. So there's one eye width between the two eyes. You can do kind of that measurement if you want, or you can just estimate it and begin lightly sketching in some of those contours. Notice again I'm holding my pencil pretty far away from the tip, and most of the time I'm spending looking over here and just like when we were doing our blind contour drawing, I'm keeping my eye focused on the subject matter only glancing back every now and then at the actual drawing, and so I'm letting my pencil and my hand be an extension of my eye, so to speak, and don't be afraid to make lots of marks, lots of little lines. You kind of get the basic outline of that eye shape in. Don't worry about the values yet. Let's mark everything else in first, mapping it all out. Again, what's the distance between this eye and this next eye? You can take a sight measurement, just like I showed you. This is the distance between the eyes. It's about the width of one eye. And then again, I'm making some hatching marks and cross hatching in here, but really I'm just focusing on a few basic contours. This basic contour, this one here. I'm just capturing the best I can. And then don't forget this big contour underneath. Makes it look kind of sleepy. He's got bags under his eyes. And there's one on top of the eye too there. Alright, now let's map out the rest of the facial features. If we took a measurement from the eye to the chin and broke that in half, basically from the eye to the bottom of the nose, and bottom of the nose to the chin. So that should tell us that the bottom of the nose is halfway between the eye and the chin. So again, if you feel like you need to make a mark, just going to make a mark, dividing this in half. That's where the bottom of the nose is. This contour right here, it looks like a U, maybe even a W if you spread the W out. But right there in the middle, just go straight down from the middle of the bridge of the nose, make a curved contour. Change the way I'm holding my pencil, but I am still holding it really far back to get lots of little marks, sketch marks. And I got that U shape and then kind of a little W. If I drew a line straight up from the side of the nose, it runs into the corner of the eye. I got mine a little far. Just back it in a little bit, or I could leave his nose wide if I wanted to. Same thing over here. That one actually is lining up pretty good there. So now we need the mouth, which is just what? A contour. And it is basically halfway between the tip of the nose and the chin. Right there in the middle. Check it if you want. Take measurements like this. From the nose to the mouth. Same as the nose to almost to the bottom of the chin. Alright, maybe a little above the middle. But it's just a horizontal line to start with. A horizontal line. How far over does it go? Just make those visual checks, those references. If I drew a line straight up from it, hits the middle of the eye. If you need to draw that line on there to see that, go right ahead. Checking from here to here. And then you'll also notice a pretty important contour right here. Looks like an upside down U that's been flattened out some, that defines the top of his chin. Now he does kind of have a little bit of a divot in his chin right here. And you have the basic features. Of course, we need to put the ears. Just do a simple comparison from the top of the ear. If I drew a line straight over from the top of the ear, what does it run into? Basically runs right into the middle of his eyes. So that should tell you top of the ear is going to be about here. Again, just make that comparison. It's a proportional thing. Mark where the tops of the ears are going to be, and then again where the bottom of the ear is going to be. If I drew a line straight across, basically it runs right underneath the nose, kind of where I already have that division line. Make a little mark, make a little mark. And then the ear is just a contour, remember? It's just a line that angles down, curves a little bit. And there's another little one right here. And then inside the ear we have a little bent line like this. Some hatching marks. Same on the other side. Neat little shape right here. Trying to see shapes of light and dark. We're about to start really getting into that. Let's go ahead and finish the contours of the neck. If I was to traverse this side of the face, the contour, you'll see where it drops off the side of the face and drops down into here. This side over here, same thing, just follow it around, and right after it gets past the jawline, it just drops. Okay, now we're ready to start really putting some of these values on, which was the key drawing skill we're going to be looking at. If you have a harder lead pencil, that would be great. If not, just keep using a number 2. And let's begin up here on the right side of his head. This is a great place to practice without any fear of messing up, because if you mess up, nobody will know. Just begin making some marks. Hatching, cross-hatching. And you'll notice right away there's a few little contours that run over here making his wrinkled forehead. Put a few of those in. On the far right side, they start to get further and further apart with light. And then I'm going over the whole entire area. This whole area here. Notice I'm holding my pencil way back in the back. Getting the general darkness over that whole entire area. Concentrating the lines down where I need it to be darker. It's a good place to start. I'm going to move right along. If you guys feel like you need to stop the video and take a break and catch up, please do. Notice how dark it is in here on the inside corners of his eyes. So you're going to want your hatching marks to be real close together, hatching and cross-hatching. Notice how my mark making really doesn't stop. I just keep continuing to make marks. My eye is going from there to here, back and forth really quick. But most of the time I'm spending looking over here at the example. Generally, this whole right side of his head is darker. Tells me that the light's coming from the left. As I come around here, there's a few contours or hatchings that go with the curvature of his cheekbone. So I'm going to just curving those marks a little bit. I'm going to switch to my HB pencil, which is a little harder than number 2. Keep rolling on with a number 2 if that's what you got, or a mechanical. It's probably number 2. Back to the number 2 here for inside the eye because it's really dark. Now, getting eyes to look real is actually pretty darn easy. All you have to do is get a good highlight. See that highlight there? So just make a little shape, kind of a circle or trapezoid shape. Draw the pupil and draw it right around that really dark. Darken it in as much as you can. And the whole eye socket is in shadow. So this is where the hatching comes in. Watch, I'm just going to hatch over the whole thing. Maybe I took a little far here, just back some off the eraser. And then just keep going. Got the right side of his nose. One quick contour down and then some hatching and cross hatching for this. You'll notice a pretty important contour right here and right there. On the underside of his cheek. It's just a line, just try to think of it as a line, just capture it like that. And then what is the value? There's a light gray value right above it. See a really interesting shadow right underneath the nose, right here. So just outline the shadow, color it in. Darken it in rather, hatching, cross hatching, and then I'm just going to keep going back to this right side of the face where there's all kinds of shadow. Don't just randomly make your marks. Try to imagine the surface of the person's face. And that'll give you a little bit more of an idea of how to maybe curve some things, where to stop and start your marks. And we have more of a shadow on this whole side of this upper lip right here. You can see it right here. So how do we do that? Hatching and cross hatching. Just make a few marks. We're trying to get a middle gray, so we don't want them too close together, but we don't want it to be white, so we're definitely going to put some marks there. Maybe concentrate a few more marks right around that wrinkle. Same thing underneath the mouth. Alright. You'll notice on the mouth there's some small contours that jut up and down. Don't put a bunch of them, but capture a few. It'll represent his lips. Over here you can actually see a shadow of the lip right here on top. Well, let's go back to this eye on the left side, and then we'll just really get crazy with some hatching and cross hatching on the neck. So again, a really easy way to get a nice eye. Look for a highlight, outline it, give a little shape of light, and then you'll notice there's a dark pupil. Usually that highlight is not right in the middle, it just depends on where the light's coming from. In this case, the highlight in both eyes is kind of over here on the right. Darken this in, pushing pretty heavy. And then we're going to start darkening some of those. If you like some of those contours that you have, go ahead and push a little heavy and darken them in. Really make some of those stand out. Maybe you drew 3 lines, pick one and make it decisive. Definitely some heavy dark shadow in here, the inside corner of the eye, and then just lightly make some hatching marks radiating out from that eye. Now you can come back and add more to that later if you want. Look over the whole thing and see where you see little marks, and feel free to come back and add a few in, like for example right here on the side of the nose. That makes sense to put a few. Maybe out here on the cheek, a few little marks. You decide where you want to put those. Now, the darkest part of this drawing, besides the eyes, is down here on the neck. And before we just go crazy with the shading, look at a few general shapes. So I'm trying to get you guys to see with values the shapes of light and dark. Just like up here, we saw a shape of darkness. It was a rectangle, and a circular shape through here. So here again we have a, I don't know, it looks like a Y shape, like an elongated Y or a V. Or if you want to look at the shape of dark, it looks like an arch. So whichever shape you want to look at, I'm going to focus on the dark. There's like this arched shape right here underneath this chin. And then how dark is it? With values, you're also trying to see not only what the shape of the value is, but just how dark is that value. It's pretty dark right here underneath the chin. About as dark as your pencil will let you go. In other words, heavy concentration of marks together, and then as it gets lighter, radiates down toward the bottom of the neck. Just get the marks further apart. Then of course here's this light shape, long rectangular shape. So just kind of outline that, and then just to the side of that, throw some value. And then if you'll notice, there's another one of those in here, but it's covered up by a lot of lines, but there's definitely a distinct shape right here. So go over from that arch, leave a gap, and get that shape in there. And the rest of the time, try to match the value. How dark is the dark? Make the marks closer together. Get it really, really dark, especially right underneath the jawline. Up onto the chin, you have a little bit of lines that separate. Maybe some gray. Real big, broad shapes over this neck here. Don't hold back, just make those marks, those hatching and cross-hatching marks I'm going to go ahead and jump up here to the whole side of his face too and do some marks like this. If you're not quite that bold yet, that's fine, just take your time. That's how you shade with marks, hatching and cross-hatching. It's not a blending technique. Blending is way more smooth. In a lot of ways it's easier and looks more realistic, but there are times when you're going to want to make marks with lines like this, and you get a different type of feel for your drawing. It's more sketchy. Some people prefer this way because it's fast. If you're one of those people that wants to sketch real rapidly, there's definitely a lot of freedom in this technique. So I'm just going to darken up around the head where I see the darkness. Maybe throw some hair on there, not much. Spend as much time as you want trying to match those values, and then clean up your drawing by erasing those guidelines that we had. And that's some hatching and cross-hatching. Hope you had some relative success with that. See you next time.